somebody asked me a question. Somebody asked me, JT, do you think the Miami Dolphins could win the AFC East this upcoming season in 2020? And my answer to that question is absolutely yes. The Miami Dolphins could win the AFC East. Now, at this point of the offseason, you can make the argument and say that, oh, JT, everybody's team has a chance to win in the division, such and such. No, they don't. No, they absolutely don't. The Jacksonville Jaguars are not going to win the AFC South. We know what teams, based on how bad the roster is, are going to be able to win the division and not going to be able to win the division. Okay? So this isn't one of those motivational videos when I give Miami Dolphins fans false hopes that they have a chance to win in the AFC East. This isn't one of those. I legitimately think that the Miami Dolphins have a shot of winning the AFC East realistically. And here's why. You see, the AFC East isn't necessarily a tough division. You get what I'm saying? Like, every team in the AFC East, in my opinion, is pretty much dead equal from a talent standpoint. Now, the favorite is the Buffalo Bills, because when you pair all these rosters up side by side, the Buffalo Bills have the better roster. They probably have the best roster than any team in the AFC East, but it's not by that big of a margin, in my opinion. Because, listen, I think the Miami Dolphins got better with signing Byron Jones in free agency. You also pair him up with Xavier Howard, and you also get Noah Igbinoghene from the University of Auburn. So, I mean, the cornerback position for the Miami Dolphins is absolutely stacked. You also get linebacker Calvin Noah in free agency, who was a really solid linebacker for the New England Patriots, and a lot of people really wanted him. Then you also get Curtis Weaver in the mid-round of the NFL draft, who had 11.5 sacks for Boise State University last season. So if you're looking at the Miami Dolphins, this team from a talent standpoint is good enough to be able to compete, and they could win the AFC East. Because like I said, like, everybody acts like the Buffalo Bills are automatically going to win the AFC East. No, that's not going to happen. Yes, if you was a betting man, you probably would bet the odds on Buffalo because they had a more talented roster. But like we saw last year with the Cleveland Browns and the Dallas Cowboys, that just because you have a talented roster doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win the division, and doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win a lot of games. It comes down to coaching. Coaching matters a lot in the NFL, and a lot of people seem to forget that. In the Super Bowl, the most talented team doesn't win the Super Bowl. The better coach team wins the Super Bowl. That's what happens. Now, a lot of people in the media make it seem like talent matters, but it really comes down to coaching. And when you look at the Miami Dolphins, in my opinion, the fact that Brian Flores was able to win games with a team that really should have went 0-6 team that was on the break of probably being one of the worst teams of all time, and they were able to win games, not having a good offensive line, not really being able to run the football that well, not really having a lot of talent on the defense side of the football. So the fact that Brian Flores is able to win some games with how bad this roster is a testament to how good of a coach he is. Now, it may be a one-season thing. He may turn out to be another Romeo Crennel, because for those of you guys who don't remember, Romeo Crennel had a lot of success his first year when he was an NFL head coach under that Bill Belichick coaching tree. Then after that, he pretty much crapped the bed. But I don't think Brian Flores is like that. Brian Flores has his own culture. That's what I like about Brian Flores. Yes, he's implementing a little bit of what Bill Belichick did, what he learned in New England, things like that, but he's not building a whole entire culture based on what he learned from Bill Belichick and how Bill Belichick ran his organization. He's implementing a little bit of that, but he also has his own flavor to it. He's not trying to go full out New England Patriots, and that's what I like about Brian Flores. He's building his own culture. He's not trying to build what New England built. Every team has to build their own culture. That's why a lot of New England Patriots, former head coaches and former assistants, they don't work in the NFL because they fail to build their own culture. They try too hard to be the New England Patriots, and it doesn't work out. And what Brian Flores is able to do is, the Miami Dolphins, week after week, they got better. Week after week, they went from getting blown out by the Baltimore Ravens, getting blown out by the New England Patriots, to upsetting the New England Patriots the last week of the NFL season last week. That's a testament to how better this team got, right? And I mean, you look at this roster. This is the most improved team going into the NFL season. Now, that's not most improved as a team that's going to make a jump from, terrible to Super Bowl contender, not in that aspect. But they are the most improved team when you look at how bad this roster was last year compared to what this roster is this year. They had the worst roster in the NFL last year. Now you have a better roster than you had last year. So they are most improved in that aspect. So, you look at the Miami Dolphins, the offensive line should be a lot better. They went really heavy in the offensive line in the offseason. In the NFL draft, you got Solomon Kentley. You also got Austin Jackson there. Then, in free agency, you also signed Eric Flowers. You also got Robert Hunt in the NFL draft. So, the Miami Dolphins have a lot of young pieces that should be able to develop under Brian Flores and his coaching staff, and they should be very solid starts. I really like Austin Jackson. I thought Austin Jackson was a first-round caliber offensive tackle. A lot of people had mixed reviews about Austin Jackson. Eric Flowers, a lot of people like, what the heck are the Miami Dolphins doing bringing in Eric Flowers? Eric Flowers was a failure as a tackle in the NFL, but he was a really good guard for the Washington Redskins last year. So the offensive line should be a lot better compared to what it was last year. And with the offensive line being better, that means they should be able to have some kind of a run game because they were not able to run the football worth dirt last season. So you also bring in Jordan Howard, who is he's an okay halfback. He's not great, but he's not bad. He's a serviceable halfback. You can get some production out of him. You also got Kellen Balaj, who I felt was solid last year, considering how bad the blocking was last year up front. You also got Matt Breida, who was a change of pace halfback, who pretty much was the odd man out in that San Francisco 49ers halfback group. So, you got talent when it comes to being able to run the football. I also think the wide receiving core is not too shabby. It's not the best, but it's not bad neither. You got Devontae Parker, who broke out last year. Devontae Parker was basically trending on being a bust. He basically was a bust. Everybody pretty much gave up on Devontae Parker, and last year he comes and saves his whole entire career. Then you also got Alan Hearns, who's a solid number 2 option. You also got Albert Wilson, Isaiah Ford, Gary Jennings, who I'm really high on. So the wide receiving core is solid. Like I said, it's not bad, but it's not terrible. If you want a good comparison to what this Miami Dolphins receiving core is, it reminds me of what the Buffalo Bills receiving core was last year. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. They have guys who can produce, and you got a true number 1 wide receiver in Devontae Parker, So the offense should be improved. And then at the quarterback position, you got Tua, you got Ryan Fitzpatrick. Now, Tua is not going to be the starter day one. Basically, you're going to let him sit back behind Ryan Fitzpatrick, learn the playbook, heal out completely from his injuries, right? Then you also got Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick, despite being old, 37, 38 years old, this dude is still able to pull a rabbit out of his butt and still able to have some kind of production. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, in all honesty, in my opinion, was a top 20 quarterback last year. So, the Miami Dolphins, they have the talent to be able to compete and win the AFC East division. Now, will they win the AFC East division? I don't know. I'm not making this video to say that they will win the AFC East this year, but I am making this video to say that it is a possibility that you can overlook the Miami Dolphins for being able to win the AFC East. So, it's two different things. It's a difference between saying a team will win the AFC East and the difference between saying that a team could win the AFC East. I'm saying that their possibility is there because listen, the AFC East is not set in stone. Like a lot of people just want to go ahead and get a division up to Buffalo, but it's a reason why they play the games. It's a reason why the games have to be played. So, the Miami Dolphins have a really good shot of winning the AFC East division. If you had to ask me a percentage that the Miami Dolphins had to win in the AFC East, I would say that the Miami Dolphins have a 24% chance of winning the AFC East this year. Because, listen, like I said, the parity in the AFC East isn't all that big. I don't think it's a big gap in talent when it comes to stacking up these rosters team by team. And at the end of the day, I think whoever wins this division is going to come down to coaching. And it's a lot of good coaches in this division. You got McDermott, who was a good coach for the Buffalo Bills. I feel he should have won head coach of the year last year. Then you also got Brian Flores there, who is a good coach in his own right, considering the fact that he was able to win some games with a terrible roster. You also got the Sith Lord, who is Bill Belichick. So, and Adam Gase, we really don't know about Adam Gase. But overall, the AFC East is not set in stone. I think the AFC East, in my opinion, is wide open. You may want to say that Buffalo is the favorite to win the AFC East, and I wouldn't fault you for that. I will agree with that statement. But I am saying that it's a reason why you got to play the games, and I feel like the Miami Dolphins could compete and they could win the AFCs. I'm not saying they will. Once again, that's like the 4th time me saying that, but I'm saying that the possibility is there that they could win the AFCs. So let me know what you guys think about the Miami Dolphins down in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content, and thank you for watching.